I thought I would create this video just to give a little more insight into how to manage anemia and thalassemia naturally from what I discovered that doctors never told me before. So if you want to learn how, just keep watching. So through my personal experience and persistent research, I've discovered the source of anemia and how I can manage it naturally. Hello everyone, my name is Swat and I'm a follower of Christ, and my faith in Him has afforded me a lot of victories with some trials and tribulations kind of thrown in there. But I have to say I would not change a thing. So I created this channel just as a journal for myself, to be able to have a venue to share my own testimonies, any inspiration or information that I may have acquired over my life experiences that I find may be helpful to other people who may be struggling with the same things that I am. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so down below so you don't miss any content on spirituality, health, living a positive lifestyle, as well as any ideas that will help you live an empowered, supernatural life now in the land of the living. And be sure to hit that notification button as well so you don't miss any weekly videos that I upload. Okay, so let's get down to it. Just to give you a little bit of a backstory, I was diagnosed many years ago with anemia major with a thalassemia minor. Now with anemia, what it does is it causes your body not to produce enough red blood cells that will help to oxygenate your body, your organs, and your tissues for proper functioning. So normal symptoms of anemia can include fatigue, muscle weakness, foggy brain, strange cravings. Some people crave ice. Some people crave, as odd as it may seem, chalk. Some people eat chalk. My symptoms tend to only include foggy brain, fatigue, and weakness. I don't have the craving for ice. In fact, I hate ice and cold things. I drink my waters and drinks tend to be room temperature. And I don't eat any talc or chalk, anything like that. So my symptoms are the more common symptoms of fatigue, weakness, and foggy brain. Now with thalassemia, which is also a blood disorder, it does not allow your body to create a normal or adequate amount of hemoglobin. Now for those who may not know, hemoglobin is an iron-rich protein that not only gives your blood the red color that it has, but it's also necessary to help carry oxygen through your body. With thalassemia, with the inadequate amount and the abnormal production of hemoglobin, it tends to result in the destruction of red blood cells, which then leads to anemia. And along with the other symptoms that I mentioned with anemia and thalassemia, it can also lead to low iron levels. Now with the anemia major and the thalassemia minor being hereditary, I hadn't dealt with the repercussions of that disorder until as of late, several years ago, when I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis and I was having to deal with flare-ups. With ulcerative colitis being an autoimmune disease, it just kind of triggered the effects, I guess you will, of my anemia and my thalassemia. So I wasn't really dealing with low iron levels and dealing with that kind of stuff until after I was diagnosed with the ulcerative colitis. And if you want to hear more about my journey with ulcerative colitis, I'll leave a link up here. So as a result of the issues that I had in the past with ulcerative colitis and it triggering the effects of the anemia and the thalassemia, I've dealt the last probably several years with my health issues with continual dropping of my iron levels and hemoglobin and my blood count. Because of that, I've had several iron infusions to help bolster my iron levels, and it keeps dropping down. So basically probably for the last 2-3 years, every 6 months to a year, I have an iron infusion. And that's a large amount of iron that they infuse through my veins to bolster my reserve, basically. And I tend to have, each time I've had it, I've had 14,000 milligrams, which is a huge bag. You can see here in this picture right here. So that can take anywhere, depending on the type of iron that I've got it infused with, it could take me anywhere from 8 hours, down to 4 hours, depending on the type of iron they use. But as I've gotten the iron infusions over the years, it's like within 24 to 48 hours, I'm Superman. I'm bouncing off the walls. I'm energetic. I can't seem to sit for long periods of time. And then I've become very, very productive, very clear-headed. So after my last couple of infusions, I got frustrated because this is something that I didn't want to have to go through the rest of my life. So I started doing persistent research on how I could control this, how I could cure myself, how I could manage this naturally so I can forego having iron infusions and manage to keep my blood count, my hemoglobin, and my iron levels all where they're supposed to be naturally. So when I was doing my research, I discovered that the source and the cause of anemia and thalassemia was the malfunctioning or underfunctioning activity of the spleen. And this is something that I've never heard of before. I was never told by any doctors. My family members were never told about this from doctors, but the spleen has a pivotal effect on anemia. So I started doing research on what caused malfunctioning or underfunctioning spleen and how I could, counteract that. And during my research, I discovered that mineral deficiencies and vitamin deficiencies in the body can cause the spleen to malfunction or underfunction. So with my situation, I knew that in order to properly absorb all the nutrients from my food, since I knew I couldn't get them from just supplements alone, according to my hematologist, he said due to the ulcerative colitis, that my body wasn't able to fully absorb and assimilate all the nutrients from supplements. So I knew my best bet was to get it through food, that I still needed to optimize my absorbability in my stomach, if you will. So I knew that the foods I was eating was going to be fully beneficial. So for me, I knew from previous research that I needed to control and put their ulcerative colitis in complete remission, and also to heal my stomach lining and my colon, rectum, all that stuff. All that had to be fully restored so that my organs could absorb the nutrients properly. I've learned from previous experience that high probiotics and fermented foods were very beneficial in putting the colitis into remission, which I'm still at this date in remission. So basically, I knew that once I had my colitis under control and in remission, that I could better absorb nutrients from the foods. So the vitamins and minerals that I discovered were very beneficial in nourishing the spleen was B12, iron, vitamin C, and vitamin A. Those are the four things that I discovered were most beneficial and imperative to help the spleen function the way it's supposed to. So I started to do research on foods that are rich in these vitamins. So what I had discovered for the spleen, especially where vitamin C and vitamin A were concerned, were foods that were orange or yellow in color. Things like gourds, pumpkins, spaghetti squash, butternut squash. Very, very, very beneficial for the spleen. Also, foods rich in iron, like green leafy vegetables, spinach, kale, things like that. Collard greens, Swiss chard. Those are very high in A and also very beneficial to the spleen. When it came to vitamin C, things like citrus fruits, oranges, lemons, limes, grapefruit, those kinds of things are very high in vitamin C to help the spleen as well. And organic meats like bison and organic beef, liver, calf liver and chicken livers, things like that were organic, were high in iron. I went on a crusade to start consuming more of those foods. So I also started making my own sauerkraut, which I love. I have two types of sauerkraut recipes. One is just a straight traditional sauerkraut, fermented for a long period of time for extra strong probiotic effect. But I also have one that traditionally isn't fermented, so it's not technically sauerkraut, but it's very high in anti-inflammatory properties. It's just basically pickled cabbage that I treat like sauerkraut, but it has turmeric and ginger in it. And I also use apple cider vinegar, which prevents the fermentation process, but at the same time offers anti-inflammatory properties. So I have those two sauerkraut cabbage recipes that I make. I'll also include that as well down below. I haven't made a video for that yet, but that will be coming up. So in conjunction with putting the colitis in remission by consuming high probiotic food and fermented foods, I also started incorporating organic calf liver into my diet, eating organic meat as often as I could. Also, fresh seafood like salmon is very high in omegas, are also good for your spleen as well. So I started consuming a lot of fish, salmon, ate butternut squash every which way that was possible. I ate acorn squash, I ate spaghetti squash, just try to mix it up with a lot of different recipes. I try to mix up my food remedies as often as I can, just so I don't get tired of eating one thing too many times. I try to create different recipes to eat things differently so I don't get tired of it. And one thing I also discovered, and it's very important as you use food as a remedy for organs and for health, is the combination of foods. So like with spinach, it's high in iron, but spinach doesn't have the effect in its raw state as it does in its steamed state. So I learned how to cook food the proper way to increase the optimal benefits of it. So with steamed spinach, I would eat vitamin C rich foods with iron rich foods because you need C to assimilate and absorb iron fully. So just little things like that I learned as far as food combinations and how to optimize the nutritional absorption of all these vitamins and minerals that I was intending to ingest and consume for the benefit of my spleen. So basically I learned all that. There'll be more in my blog if you want to go to my blog for more details on how to use food combinations for optimal absorption and benefit. And all because I learned that the spleen was the source of anemia. So now with the fact that I have the colitis under control and in remission, and now that I'm on the right path to healing and providing my spleen with the proper nutrients to function properly, I am very optimistic in the hopes that I will no longer need iron infusion. Of course, I'll keep you up to date, keep you informed as I learn. I'll share with you what is benefiting me and what may benefit you as well. I find that for me, these videos help me document my journey as to what I'm going through. And if I can help somebody else going through the exact same thing, or who may have questions about issues that they're dealing with that are similar to mine, I'm hoping I could help in any way at all. As a disclaimer, again, I am not a doctor. I'm not, guaranteeing that these remedies and these solutions are one shoe fits all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that this is what I've learned has been beneficial to me, and in hopes that maybe they'll be beneficial to you. So if you found anything in this video to be helpful, if you know anything else about anemia, thalassemia, hemoglobin, red blood cells, iron levels, spleen functionality, anything more that you may know that I may not have covered or may not be aware of, please feel free to leave a comment down below, because we're here to help empower one another and to connect with one another in the kingdom. So please feel free to share. I hope you found this beneficial, or if you know somebody else who may find some benefit and encouragement from this video as well, please share with them. I would really definitely appreciate the support. And again, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I will be sharing more information like this every week, and some recipes and some testimonies and just whatever God inspires me to share. Thank you so much for your time. I always value and I treasure it, and I can't wait to see you next time. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.